Okay, so you want to simplify your life.
Yeah.
But you're not really sure where to start.
Right.
I mean,
yeah.
minimalism, essentialism,
There's all these.
they both sound kind of good.
Do you do?
Today,
Yeah.
we are going to take a deep dive into both these philosophies.
That's good.
And hopefully by the end, you'll have a better idea
Right.
of which one,
Yeah.
or even both,
Uh-huh.
might work for you.
Absolutely.
So to help us unpack all this,
Okay.
we're going to be looking at excerpts
Yeah.
from a guide called Not Paste, Not Text.
Okay.
Have you heard of this?
I have. Yeah, it's really good.
Yeah, it's got some really interesting, very practical
Yes.
insights into both these philosophies.
So,
So let's get started.
I like it.
So first things first,
right.
we have to define our terms.
Yes.
When you hear the word minimalism,
Okay.
what comes to mind?
Well, I think a lot of people think
Okay.
like very stark white room,
Uh-huh.
maybe capsule wardrobes.
Right, right.
This idea of really just getting rid of stuff.
It's about having less stuff.
Yeah, less is more.
Yeah, it's kind of like
right.
there's a whole psychology behind why we feel like we need to accumulate so much stuff.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Minimalism kind of forces you to confront that a little bit
Yeah.
and just be more intentional about what we bring into our lives.
Yeah.
And what we choose to hold on to.
Right. Yeah. And just really thinking about like,
Yeah.
does this add value to my life?
Right.
Or is it just taking up space?
Right.
And I think that that can free up a lot of
Yeah.
mental
It's
as well.
physical space.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sometimes I look at, I love books.
Right.
I have bookshelves full of books.
Yeah.
But I'm like, do all these books spark joy? Or are they just kind of,
Yeah. Are you ever going to read them again?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
It's almost like they end up owning us, all this stuff we have.
Right.
But essentialism.
Right.
Now, that's a little bit different. Now,
It is.
it's not just about owning fewer things.
Yeah.
It's really about prioritizing
Exactly.
what truly matters.
Uh-huh.
It's about making sure what you do have really adds value to
Right.
your life.
And being really intentional about like
Yes.
your time, your energy.
Yeah, so it's not just about the stuff, it's about how we spend our time and energy.
Yeah. Absolutely.
So instead of trying to do everything
Right.
and being kind of mediocre at everything,
Yes. But then.
you choose to focus your time and energy on the things that really,
Yeah.
you're most passionate about.
Right. Exactly.
Where you can excel.
You make the most impact.
Exactly, yeah.
Yeah.
Now this Not Paste, Not Text guide,
Okay.
it has a really helpful table
Yeah.
that compares minimalism and essentialism
I'd like that. Yeah.
along a few key dimensions.
Okay.
And it's really, I think, illuminating to look at this.
Okay, let's do it.
Okay, so first up
Right.
is focus.
Okay. Yeah.
Now, minimalism seems to be very externally focused. Okay, right. It's about like,
Yeah.
all the stuff around you.
Physical space.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Whereas essentialism
Yes.
seems to take a more internal approach.
Right.
It's really
Yeah,
looking at,
yeah. So much less about the stuff around you and more about like how are you managing your time,
Yeah.
your energy, your commitments.
right, it's really about
Yeah.
how you spend your
Yeah.
precious time and mental energy.
Uh-huh.
And this leads us to the second point in the table, which is approach.
Okay.
So minimalism is about reducing.
Right. Less is more.
Right, like getting rid of things that add value or joy to your life.
Right.
Whereas essentialism is
Yeah.
more about prioritizing.
It is.
It's about carefully choosing what to keep
Uh-huh.
and what to let go of.
Right. And I think that can apply to
Yeah.
so many different things.
Yeah, so you might choose to keep more things with essentialism.
Yeah.
Because they serve a specific purpose.
Absolutely. Right. Or my whole,
Yeah.
sentimental value or
Yeah, okay.
something like that.
And then the ultimate goals.
Okay.
Now, minimalism,
Yeah.
it strives for that clutter-free space
Yeah.
that leads to mental clarity,
Yeah.
freedom.
Yeah.
It's really about
Yeah.
making space for what truly matters.
Absolutely.
And essentialism.
Essentialism is a little more about like maximizing your contribution.
Okay.
Like, are you using your gifts, your time,
Yeah.
your talents for the things that really matter to you?
Yeah. Okay. So like I could apply minimalism
Yeah.
to decluttering my home.
Right.
But then use essentialism
Okay.
at work
Yeah.
to
Absolutely.
figure out which projects
Right.
really are the ones that I should be spending my time on.
Yeah.
And then kind of let go of some of the other ones that aren't really adding that value.
Exactly. It's fascinating. How these different philosophies can be used in so many areas of our lives.
Let's look at some specific examples
Okay.
from Not Paste, Not Text
All right.
to see how this plays out in the real world,
Yes.
starting with our homes.
Okay. Yeah. So many people first encounter these philosophies through home organization.
Yeah, because that's tangible.
Yeah, yeah.
You could see it.
It's something we can all wrap our heads around.
Yeah, so with minimalism, you would really be looking to keep only essential items.
Right.
Maybe you've heard of the KonMari method,
Oh, yeah.
where you only keep things that spark joy.
I love that, yeah.
But essentialism might look a little different.
Okay.
You might choose to keep items that serve a specific purpose.
Right.
Or have sentimental value.
Right. Even if that means having a few more things than a strict minimalist might.
So it's really about being intentional.
Absolutely.
And asking yourself, what items in my home truly add value to my life?
Right.
Whether practically or emotionally.
Yeah, good question to ask.
And what about our time?
Okay.
I feel like I never have enough time.
No, none of us do.
There are never enough hours in the day.
Yeah, it's a constant struggle.
How can these philosophies help us better manage our time?
Well, I think with minimalism, you really have to learn to say no more.
Right.
Like, if you're feeling overwhelmed by your schedule, it might be time to start saying no.
Okay.
To some of those commitments.
Well, it's hard.
It is hard.
Yeah.
But it's so necessary.
But essential.
It is, yeah.
But because otherwise...
Otherwise, you just end up feeling burnt out.
Stressed out.
Yeah, and resentful.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And essentialism would say, take a look at all the things you have to do and ask yourself, is this really important?
Right.
Does this align with my goals, my values?
Yeah, so you're not just busy.
Yeah.
You're actually productive.
You're actually making a difference
in
the things that matter
to
you.
Yeah.
Ooh, I'm already feeling less stressed just thinking about it.
Yeah.
And then the other thing is our purchasing habits.
Oh, yeah.
Minimalism, of course,
yeah.
would encourage us
Yeah.
to just buy less stuff.
Right. Buy less, but buy better.
Yeah. Quality over quantity.
Absolutely.
So instead of, always chasing the latest trend.
Right. Fast fashion.
Fast fashion. Yeah. Maybe you invest
in
a few key pieces.
Right. That are going to last.
That are high quality, durable.
Yeah.
That you're going to love and wear for years to come.
And it's more sustainable, too.
And it's more sustainable.
Yeah. Thinking about the impact of your choices.
Absolutely. And essentialism.
Essentialism would really look at why are you buying this?
Okay.
How does it enhance your life?
Does it serve a purpose?
Does it serve a purpose?
Yeah.
Does it align with your values?
So it's really about being a mindful consumer.
It is.
Thinking about the impact of your purchases, both on your own well-being and the environment.
Yeah. So now it seems like minimalism and essentialism, they kind of have some common ground.
They do.
When it comes to benefits. That's what we're going to be exploring next.
Okay, let's take a break.
Sounds good.
And we'll come back and talk about those shared benefits.
Aye.
So we've been talking about all this stuff, right? And all these commitments. But what about mental clutter?
Ooh, yeah.
That's something that we don't always think about.
No, we don't. It's so easy to focus on the stuff we can see. But mental clutter, it can be just as draining.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, just that feeling of like having a million tabs open in your brain.
Oh, yeah.
And nothing's really loading properly.
Ugh, I love that analogy.
It's exhausting.
And it can impact your focus.
Yeah.
Your energy, your sleep.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's just like carrying around all this extra weight.
So how do minimalism and essentialism help us deal with that?
Yeah, I mean, it's not like we can just donate our worries to Goodwill.
Exactly.
But I think that the same principles apply, like being intentional, prioritizing what's most important.
And so like with minimalism, maybe instead of just mindlessly scrolling through social media all the time,
doom scrolling.
Yeah, exactly. You choose to read a book.
Read a book. Spend some time in nature.
Go for a walk.
Meditate.
Journal.
Do something that nourishes your mind.
Nourishes your mind and your soul.
Yeah, absolutely. And then essentialism, you could use that to
to figure out all these worries.
What are the ones that are really worth my time and energy?
Okay.
What can I actually do something about?
Right.
And then what are the things that I just need to let go of?
Right. So instead of trying to deal with everything at once.
Yeah, because that's overwhelming.
Yeah. And it's paralyzing.
It is.
You pick one thing.
Right.
Focus on that.
Yeah, break it down into smaller steps.
Yeah.
And tackle those one at a time.
So it's really about creating
space to breathe.
To think clearly, yeah.
Yeah, so let's look at some specific examples of how we can apply this to our mental clutter.
Okay.
The first thing that pops into my mind is that dreaded to-do list.
Oh, yeah.
Mine is never-ending growing, no matter how many things I cross off.
It's like a hydra. Right.
It's a hydra, like 2 more grow back.
2 more pop up.
In its place.
Yeah.
So minimalism would say...
simplify the list.
Right.
Instead of trying to, capture every single little thing.
Every single thing, yeah, because then...
you get overwhelmed just looking at it.
Absolutely.
Pick. 3 to 5.
Right, the most important things.
The most important things.
The vital few.
Yeah, and essentialism would go a step further and say, are these tasks really the ones that you should be spending your time on?
That's a good question.
Do they align with your goals?
Your goals, your values.
Can you delegate them?
Can you delegate, defer?
Yeah, can you just get rid of them altogether?
Sometimes you can, yeah.
What about those nagging worries?
Oh, yeah, we all have those.
That keep us up at night.
Right.
How can these philosophies help us?
Well, I think minimalism, you can use that to identify the triggers for those worries.
Okay, so...
yeah, like if you're constantly scrolling social media and comparing yourself, maybe you need to take a break from social media.
So it's really about curating your input.
It is, yeah.
What you're allowing into your mental space.
Absolutely.
And essentialism can help us develop
like healthy coping mechanisms.
Yeah, so
yeah, maybe that's journaling.
Meditation,
mindfulness.
Talking to a therapist.
Talking to a friend, going for a walk.
Yeah.
Anything that helps you kind of process those anxieties.
So you're not suppressing the worries.
Right.
You're
finding healthy ways to deal with them.
And sometimes I think the mental clutter comes from just unfinished business.
Oh, yeah.
Like things that you keep putting off.
The things we've been meaning to do.
But they're just weighing on you.
Right, yeah.
Minimalism would say.
Okay.
Maybe just let go of some of that.
Yeah, maybe it's time to...
just let it go.
If it's not serving you.
Yeah.
Just let it go.
If you haven't done it by now.
Yeah.
Maybe you don't really want to do it.
And that's okay.
Yeah. And essentialism could help us break down those big, scary tasks.
Right, because those can be so overwhelming.
Into smaller, more manageable steps.
Yeah, make it feel less daunting.
Yeah. So if you're thinking about, I have to write a book, like, oh my God.
I can't even.
I'm never going to do that,
Right. But if you think about it as, okay, I'm just going to write for 30 minutes today.
Yeah.
That feels much more doable.
And it's amazing how once you start to, clear out some of that mental clutter.
Right.
You suddenly realize you have all this space for the things that really matter.
More time.
More energy. More creativity.
Creativity.
To pursue the things you're passionate about.
Yeah. And just more presence.
Yeah.
To enjoy the moment.
And now I think it's important to say that, tackling mental clutter can be challenging.
Yeah, it can be. Yeah.
It's not something that happens overnight.
It's a journey.
It's a process.
Yeah, it's ongoing.
Acquires effort.
But it's so worth it.
So be patient with yourself.
Be patient. Celebrate the small wins.
Yeah.
Just keep moving forward.
All right, let's move on to our final thoughts on minimalism and essentialism.
Sounds good.
So we've spent this whole deep dive talking about minimalism and essentialism and all the ways they can,
help us simplify our lives.
And I think it's important to point out, neither of these is about deprivation.
Right.
No, it's not about having as little as possible.
Yeah, it's not about living in a stark white room.
Right. With
just 3 shirts in your closet.
Unless that's what you want.
Unless that's what brings you joy.
Right.
It's really about, figuring out what works for you.
It's finding those tools.
Yeah, that resonate with you.
What truly matters.
Yeah.
And then using these principles.
To support that. Or help you create that life.
So it's a process.
Yeah.
It's not like you just, flip a switch and suddenly you're a minimalist or an essentialist.
You figure out.
It's a journey.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you experiment, you figure out what works.
Absolutely.
And you just keep refining and adapting.
Keep going.
Yeah. And I think a good place to start is just with small steps.
Yeah.
You don't have to do everything at once.
Right. Small changes can make a big difference.
Like pick one drawer to declutter.
Okay.
Or say no to one commitment that's just draining you.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Unsubscribe from a few email lists.
Oh, yeah.
Just little things like that.
That can make such a difference.
And as you start to make these small changes,
right,
you'll start to notice. a difference in your life.
Absolutely. You might feel
less stressed.
Less stress.
More energized.
Yeah, more focused.
More focused.
More present.
Yeah, and that's really what it's all about, right?
It is.
It's about creating a life that is more intentional.
Right.
More fulfilling, more joyful.
And more aligned with who you are.
Exactly. So if you're feeling inspired to explore these ideas further, you can check out the full Not Paste Not text guide.
Yes, it's a great resource.
We'll link to it in the show notes.
Yeah, lots of practical tips in there.
Now, before we go,
we
wanted to leave you with one final thought.
All right.
We've talked about physical clutter.
Yeah.
Commitments, mental clutter.
Oh, the clutter.
But what about our digital lives?
Ooh, that's a good one.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, our inboxes are overflowing.
Right.
Notifications are constantly vying for our attention.
Yeah, we're spending hours.
And we're just scrolling through social media.
Right.
Mindlessly.
Mindless.
So could minimalism.
Yeah.
Or essentialism.
So both
help us create a more intentional, more mindful digital life.
It's a question worth asking.
Yeah. So think about that.
Yeah.
Until next time.
See you then.
Happy simplifying.